Days of Wine and Doses is absolutely an episode where I have no idea how I feel about it. This is the 18th episode of the 11th season of The Simpsons, directed by Neil Affleck, and for context, it's got 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, which for an episode of The Simpsons is pretty terrible, but for an episode of season 11 is not too bad. Honestly, there's nothing about it that I don't like. There's nothing about it that made me go, I wish that was different, I think they should have done that better, I didn't find that funny, but at the same time, there's nothing about it that kind of made me go, yeah, I love that, that was innovative, that was entertaining. It's just nice. And I know nice is not a very detailed word, but that's how I feel about it. And there are, it's very rare. It's rare that there's an episode of The Simpsons where I don't have a strong opinion either way. But this is exactly what I get with this episode. There are two narratives, two main narratives. The first involves Barney, and it's been a while since we've had an episode focusing on Barney, so I feel like that's something that was about time. Barney decides to quit drinking, and we get to see this whole different side to him, and I like that. I like the character development, I like the journey that he's on, and I like as well how Homer reacted to that. And it's quite interesting to think like, if somebody who is an alcoholic or who drinks a lot, not necessarily an alcoholic, suddenly stops drinking, their personality might change and they might be a different person to the person you know. And this is something that Homer gets with Barney. He's a very different person. But I think it works quite well, and I really enjoyed kind of that take with the character. Again, there's nothing specific about it that I thought was particularly awesome, but it was pleasant. The other part of the narrative involves a phone book competition. When was this episode published? Released early noughties. So telephone books were definitely still a thing, and there's a competition, a photo competition, to have your photo on the front cover of the phone book, and Bart and Lisa decide to try and get some interesting pictures, and they end up in a very sticky situation, and the 2 points of those narratives tie together really nicely. I won't say too much about it, but I do think the threads were woven together, nothing was left hanging, I wasn't left with any questions, I felt fulfilled, the narrative was quite satisfying. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't mind it. There's just nothing about it that I thought was awesome, which is fine. Not every episode's going to be my favourite. That would be weird. But I thought it was pretty decent. Nothing incredible, but definitely not a weak link.